Hello everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Right, so today I want to talk about short sales. Okay, so before that, welcome to Olga channel, and then please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that others will also benefit from this video. My name is Cindy, and today we are going to look at short sales. Okay, short sales. So I'll share my screen and then we'll look at a topic, let's say a question, right? Just to understand it better. And then you can revisit the video whenever you want to um, remember yourself or remind yourself of something relating to what short sales. Okay. All right. So when we talk about short sales, it's basically talking about the fact that an investor, right? So, okay, short sales is kind of like a special transaction, okay? So, in the normal investment world, the investor usually will look for funds, right? And then he or she will come and buy the shares, the stock, or whatever he or she wants at a point in time, okay? Yeah, but then there are some cases where there would be what special transactions that can occur in the investment market. Okay. Yeah. So short sales is part of those special transactions. Okay. So short sales is part of those special transactions. And then when we say short sales, we are basically looking at the fact that an investor goes to his or a broker, and then he or she will tell the broker that, look, broker, I want to engage in a special kind of transactions, okay, but then at the forefront or beginning, I don't want to spend all my money buying shares and selling and all that. So can you do me a favor? I want to borrow shares from you. So, in the stock market, right? When we deal with our brokers, okay, so that they'll be able to facilitate me buying and selling of the shares. So we usually, or investors usually have a street name. When we say street name, we mean the person or the investor who bought the shares doesn't actually have shares with the company, but then it's the broker who bought the shares on behalf of the investor. So in the company books, it's the broker that is what having those shares, but then the broker has sold it to the investor. So in the broker's books, the investor has a share in those shares that the broker has. Okay, so I hope I'm making sense. So that's how it works. So if I want to borrow shares or whatever, I can go to my broker, and my broker will be willing to do that for me. Okay, so let's say I'm an investor, then I go to my broker and I tell my broker that, look, broker, can you borrow me some of the shares? Okay, I want to borrow some of the shares and then sell. So it's like short, so you're not going through the long process. Okay, you're just going to your broker and say, broker, borrow me this amount of shares. Okay, so I've seen that maybe say the share price of Cal Bank, for instance, okay, or Apple or Google, whatever bank or whatever company you want. I've seen that the share price is 1 CD at the moment. Okay, then based on my research or what I'm anticipating, the share price is going to fall in what in some time to come. So in order to benefit from this gain, whilst I don't have certain amount of shares, right? Can you borrow me, let's say 100 shares so that I'll be able to sell at this moment? Then when I sell it at this 1 CD, right? And then I'll be able to buy it back when the price falls to selling CD. So if I bought it, if I sell it today 1 CD, and then it falls, let's say tomorrow to 80 pesos, right? It means that when I buy it back at 80 pesos, I'm going to make a profit. You get it? I'm going to make a profit of 20 pesos, 20 pesos. So this is what a short sales basically is. An investor instructing his own broker to give him some amount of shares at the moment so that the investor can sell with the expectation that the prices for that particular stock will fall in the near future so that he or she will be able to buy those shares back at a lower price and at the end make what profit. So that is the intention of the investor in a short sales market. Okay, so short sales is not really difficult compared to buying on margin. Okay, I'm not going there today. Today we are focusing on short sales. Short sales. Okay, so that's basically what short sales is about. But then want to take a look at a question where we'll be able to how these transactions or how the balance sheet of an investor would look like if he or she enters into a short sales deal. Okay, so basically we know that based from our previous understanding of accounting equation, asset is equal to what? Equity plus our liability, right? Then if you want to find any of the variables, any obviously you want to find equity, you just asset minus liability. You want to find liability, just asset minus what? Equity. So that change of subject, we are going to what? Use it here very well. Okay. So this topic is not difficult. So don't put your mind that it's confused and all that. Just be open-minded and then let us flow. And I believe that with God's help, we will understand it perfectly. Okay. Sure. So um let's see. I'm trying to sure. So let me use this. I'm coming. Sorry. Yes. So short sales is not difficult. Okay. So it's basically easy. So I want us to look at this question. All right. And then this short sales usually come in this form. So let's read the question together and then we'll have an overview of how to go about it. Okay. So I'm coming. Oh, so I think I'm having a little issue. Yeah, so I'm coming right now. It seems the document has come up right. So just a minute. Yeah, hello everyone. So welcome back. I have an issue with my app, so it's now set. Right. So as I was saying, short sales is not difficult. All you need to know is what liabilities are, what the assets are, then be able to define what your equity is, right? So the stock sales balance sheet is the balance sheet of the investor and not the broker. Okay, so we're looking at the balance sheet of the investor, right? So there's a question which says, suppose you are bearish on Microsoft stocks. When you talk about you are bearish, it means you have this hope that the prices are going to fall. Okay. So when you are bullish, it means you are hoping that prices are going to increase. When you are bearish, it means that prices you are hoping for prices to be falling. Okay. So its current market price is $370, right? So you instruct your broker to short sell 3,000 shares for you. That means you are telling a broker to lend you 3,000 shares, which is not going to come in physical, but it's just a book, right? It's just a book, right? Yes, so, okay. Then the broker has a 50% margin requirement for short sales, right? So it means that um the broker, right, requires you to make an initial deposit of 50%, and it can be a cash or a security, right? So you come to borrow from me 3,000 shares. The share that I'm come to give it to you is a share that I've given to somebody, right? It's in somebody's name. But then the person, what the person knows is that they have shares, right? Doesn't know what, so far as he receive his dividends at the end and all that, he doesn't care. But then the broker is saying, yeah, saying, okay, let me lend you 3,000 shares. But then I have to make sure that I am safe, the broker is safe, in case the other person will want to like need the other person need the share, right? So the broker will say, then you have to meet 50% requirement. That means the shares I'm lending you at this point, right? The value of the shares, I want you to pay 50% of the shares at this point, right? So that when you're able to do, when your projections come through and you make your money, you get back, right, your 50% and all that. Okay, so bring in some money as a security or to ensure you and insure myself against any risk. So that's the margin requirement. So the initial amount that a broker what requires an investor to make in order to enter into such special transactions as short sales. And then the maintenance margin is 20%. So this is just basically a requirement, right, that the broker has or places on the investor to maintain its equity at a particular position. That's the minimum amount the broker requires an investor to have at a particular point in time in order for the transaction, a special transaction, to keep on going. They get it. So you know that equity, right? So equity is owner's capital, right? So that is the 20% falls on equity. You get it? Because it's kind of like the 20% is the minimum amount you're supposed to have, and then the equity is equivalent to owner's capital or capital. So it's maintenance margin, what falls on equity. You get it? Yeah. So now the question says construct the initial balance sheet, right? So at this point that we've gotten all this information, what will be the initial balance sheet of the investor, right? So we are going to write some things here. See if I can use it. All right, so let's see, we have asset. So I'll just use A as asset, right? And then using the horizontal format. If you're an accounting student, you know. So we have equity and A is one you equity and liability, right? So this will become your, that's how your balance sheet will look like. So we are saying that you told your investor to sell, to borrow you 3,000 that we are going to sell at this point. So when the broker will sell this for you on your behalf in your name, when the broker sells it at 3,000, right? Sorry, $370. So that is the initial price at the point, right? 370. The initial price is $370, right? So if you are selling 3,000 shares at $370, what will be the total amount that we get when we sell? And then when you use your calculator, you get so 370 times 3,000, you get 1,110,000, right? 1,110,000. So okay, so we have cash, right? Smaller, right? So we have our cash to be the cash should be 1,110,000. Okay. So I think my laptop is having some switches at the moment, okay. But then it will be at your asset side, right? The 1,110,000 will be your asset because it's a cash proceed, right? Because when you sell, you get cash. And then the cash is like when I told the broker to sell my shares for me at this point, okay. It's not like the moment the broker sells now, the money comes straight to you, unless the broker transfers the money to you when he or she gets a buyer who is willing to buy the shares you are selling, right? So the money is with the broker, but then the broker, in this sense, will not give you the money straight for why? Because you borrow someone shares, then there's no guarantee that your assumptions are going to come to reality, okay? So if there's no guarantee, then it means I can't give you the money at this point. You get it? So if your whatever assumptions work, and then I'm able to return that 3,000 shares to whoever I borrowed it from, then the broker can give you your money back. And so far as the broker can't do that, right? Then I think today we have to be speaking a lot because I don't know whether it's my space or whatever. So we have the cash here. Okay, so I think it's right now. So the cash, you know that cash is an asset, right? It's coming to you, the investor. So though it's with the broker, but it's still an asset for you. But at the end of the day, if your projections go right, it will come to you right. And then we had 110 1,110,000, right? So that's what we had as our cash. Okay. Then when we are done that, the broker has a requirements for us, a margin requirement. But even though we've sold it, the shares doesn't belong to you. So I can't give you the money straightforward, right? And then I need to also have that assurance that you are in this deal like full, not to just come and borrow shares, get the money and run away. So bring money, like let me see, because if the shares were for you, it means you would have bought it yourself. The money you would have incurred some cost. And now that you're not buying and borrowing from someone, I can't just assume that yes, it's going to work and give you the money. No. So give me 50% requirement, like 50% of the cash, right? From you. So suppose I was the one having the 3,000 shares, the first time sell was having, right? Means that you would have bought it before you would have owned it. And now you are not owning it, you are borrowing. And then to have an assurance that you are still in this deal, like not going to run away and all that. Pay 50% of the money. Maybe you haven't having money to pay everything or buy the shares, but then you want to do the shorts, it's fine. Bring 50%. It can be cash, it can be treasury. Okay. So all we know is we don't know what the investor is going to bring. But then we just assume that the investor is going to bring cash, right? But then let's just write margin requirement. So MR be our margin requirement, and it's 50%, right? So 50% of the 1,110,000. I can't write everything here. So you do that on your calculator, right? So we multiply the 1,110,000 by 50%. Then we'll be getting 555,000, right? 555,000. So that will be the margin requirement. Then we need to find total assets. So this will be our asset side. So the total assets will just be the addition of the 1,110,000 and then 555,000. Okay. So you get 1,665,000. Okay, so this is what you get as your total. So this becomes your total. And then come to the equity and liability side, right? So initially, when I took the shares from the broker, what would be my liability? So you borrow something from someone, you owe the person, right? You borrow from the bank, you owe the bank, it's not for your money. So it becomes a liability for you. And your liability is what? The shares, the number of shares you bought times the price of the share at this point. So we have to take note that this liability will always change so far as prices of stocks are not stable. Right? If you know that one city is one city, that one you know that your liability will be stable for some period. But then stock price change every blessed day, especially in mature markets, right? You see in the US and all that, you see that share prices change every day. Every day your liability is going to change. So you see that this figure will be changing. As price change, we get it. And that will become your liability. So that will become your short position because the short sale, we get it. So we just say we term it as short position. So that's your short position. That is going to be the current share price times the number of shares you bought. That is going to be the same as the 270 times the 3,000 shares. That was on the question, okay? So, and that will give us the 1 million, 110,000 sorry, 110,000, 1,110,000. Yeah, so this will be a liability. And then we need to balance the equation. As accounting students, always your equation must be balance, right? So it means the left hand side must be equal to the right hand side, right? And then we know that the right hand side comprised of equity and liability. So if you know that liability is 110,000 and we want to balance, it means we just subtract our liability from what our assets. We get what our equity. That's the accounting equation, right? So you just subtract your liability from your assets and you get to equity. And that will be at this point. You get that equity. And that will be the asset, which is 166,500 minus 110, right? Then we'll be getting, so it's not easy to use this on when you are doing for like writing. Oh, I'm done writing, right? So we'll be getting 555,000, right? Just like our margin requirement, because that is our owner's capital, and that is what we brought. So it's logic that our margin requirements will be the same as our equity. But the equity is what we brought. The margin requirements also what the broker expected it to bring. And so this is the initial stage. My margin requirement is going to my equity, right? But this will change when prices are changing. Okay. Yeah, so this is going to be initial. So now we'll find the total, which will be the same as the asset side. And then we'll be done with the initial balance sheet. Okay. Now let's see the second question. It says, now we are done with the initial balance sheet. So the second one says, what happens if the market price falls to 200, right? So now we are going to compare the initial balance sheet and the current situation. So as I said earlier, so once share prices change, the liability is going to change. We get it because you took the shares at 3,000 doesn't mean the price is going to remain as 370. No, because you even had the expectation that prices are going to fall and all that. So your liability will change. What of our assets? Assets are not going to change because I've already sold the stock. You get it. So the stock is already running in the market and I'm anticipating to buy. So the cash I got from the stock is all there. I've not invested, it is there. It's not going to change. The margin requirement, the money I got at start is still there. It's not going to change. Or we get it. So our asset is not going to change. Our liability is going to change because of the instability of your share price. And our equity will change. Why? Because if your liability is changing, right? And then you want to, the equation is asset is equal to liabilities and equity. So if your liabilities is changing here and then you need to, equity is going to change in order to what? And meet up with what the assets you get. So let's see what I mean. So what happens if the market price was 200? So let's see what the new um let's see what the new balance sheet would look like. Okay. So let's see. So now we have our answer. So just draw a line, then we just continue from here. If there be a need use the different so these are assets and liability side. So as I said earlier, assets are not going to change because I've already bought it, sold the shares, and the shares I've already gotten my money. The money is still there. The money I bought, the requirements I bought is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. So my assets are going to remain the same. So the cash meaning as 1,110,000 and now our margin requirement, which was a 50% still remaining the same because the money we bought is still there, the security we bought is still there, yes, so it hasn't changed, it's still the same. My liability is going to change. Why? Because of price changes. Okay, so because I bought the shares and I have to buy it back, I've not yet bought it back. You get it? Because I'm waiting for prices to fall. So if the investor is so lucky, and then the price falls to the $200, his liability now is to be owing to the broker because will be what the $200, right, times the 3,000 shares he or she bought. And then what would we get? So we get 600, 600,000. That will be our what short position. And then since you are saying that asset is equal to equity plus liability, right? Okay. So here let's find the total of our assets, which will be the same 1,665,000. Then it means our equity, right, is going to be what the assets minus what liability. Asset is 1,665,000 minus our liability, which was 600,000. So we are going to get 1,600,000. So I hope you're also doing it right. I know 600,000. We're going to get 1,065,000, right? $1,065,000. That's going to be our equity because we said assets must be equal to equity plus liability. So the total will be what? The total be the same as that of the assets, right? So this becomes the new balance sheet, okay? So this is our new balance sheet. If when prices fall from 370 to $200, right, it means that our liability is going to reduce, you get it, right? So if I am to buy the shares back, I'm just going to buy it at 600,000. Again, and if I'm buying at 600,000, I already have some asset there, you get it, which will pushing the short position. So what will be my equity? What will be for me now is what 1,065,000. So if you want to find the profit that we made, right, from the initial stage, the initial stage is the constant, is the base, which we'll be using to compare to other scenarios. That will be the base. Okay. So if you want to know that you made a profit or not, it's your equity. Equity belongs to you. So you go and check. So this was your initial equity, right? Or the initial equity, and this is the new equity. Okay. So what you do is you just find the difference. Okay, difference in them. If the difference is a positive figure, then it means you made a profit. But if it is a negative figure, then it means you made a loss. Okay. Someone can also just say, okay, let me, and they don't want to subtract, maybe examination purposes. You don't just have to subtract because what if there are other case scenarios? You get confused yourself, right? So just look at all the number of shares I took, right? So I took um 3,000 shares, okay. And then what was the price that I bought it at? I bought the initial, the current price, right? Is what two how should I put it? So I bought it at I took the shares, that's 3,000 shares, right? And then I bought I how should I put it? The profit is not coming. Okay. So we have 3,000 shares times um 200 give us the 600,000, right? And then the other one is 370,000. We get a 120. When you find things, yeah, so it's the 3,000 times your 200, right? Plus you get your 600,000. So that's your liability now. Okay. And then your short position was 3,000 the 3,000, maybe I'll be speaking in less writing, okay. The 3,000 times the 370, which you sold it at. So you sold it as 370,000. You are buying it back at 200. So you are making a profit. So you subtract this one from this one, then you see your profit. And your profit is going to be 510,000. So it's the same as you subtracting this 555,000 from 1,065,000. So you know the profit you made. Okay, so as maybe this will be confusing because I was trying to confuse me, but you can just subtract this equity from this equity. Okay, then you get your, but you can still multiply your 3,000 by your old price, which was 370, right? And then 3,000 by the new price now, which you are buying it back. And you get your profit. Okay, sure. Then we are moving to the next question. So what happens if the market price rises to what? 450? You get it. So immediate price 450, are going to buy 450. Imagine, you get it. So what happens if price goes to 450? So now we'll use to buy this. Okay. So our cash will still remain the same as I've explained earlier. So this one shouldn't confuse you. And then our MR will be the same as I explained earlier. Then our total will still be the same. All right. Now, when we come to the short position, it will change, right? So, as to see that short sales is not difficult. Just know that the liability is always going to change. Equity is going to change because price is unstable. Okay. So, our new price is 450, right? Times the 3,000 shares we took. Because that is the share that is on the market now, right? So what are we going to get? 450 times 3,000. Going to get 120. 0, 1, 2, 3. So 1,250,000 is what we are going to get as our liability. So you see that our liability has gone up when price increase because if you were to buy that, when you were to buy at this price, you're going to make huge loss. So let's see what our equity is. And you know that equity is just asset minus liability. Asset is the same minus our equity and liability, which is now this. Let's see what our equity would be. We have 130 so our liability is going to be 315. So our equity is going to be 315,000. So the total will still be the same as that of the asset side, right? So let's look at something. See, when the price increased, right, our equity fell. Like, so now we are not comparing this and this. Like this one was just a first scenario. So suppose this scenario was not there. So we are not looking at this. We are comparing this one, comparing this new scenario with the initial stage. So don't get confused and compare with this. Compare with the initial stage. Okay. So what's the when the price increased to 450, right? Your position, your liability increased to 1,250,000, which is greater than when the price was at 370. This is going to affect your equity because you subtract your liabilities from assets, and equity is going to be lower because your profit is going to be lower. So you sold the shares at 370, right? And now you're buying it back at 415, it is a loss. Because it's a loss to you. Okay, it's a loss to you, it's not a profit. Okay. So if you want to know your loss, it's just the initial you bought 370 was the price that you bought it at, right? You sold it at, and then now you are buying it back at 150. So that is your cost. So selling price minus cost price. You get so selling price minus cost price 50. So you are going to make a huge loss. So the percentage or the difference in the price is what? Negative 80. Negative 80. Then you multiply it by the number of shares you took, which is what? Your 3,000 shares. And then your loss is around negative 140,000. Wow, it's so huge. You get it? We are making huge losses at this point because the price rose and it was far from your expectation because we expected to fall because your cost price has increased. So when your cost price increases, it means you're going to make a loss. So that's why the equity fell. You get it? And then this can continue if you still hold on to your belief that the prices are going to fall. And then unfortunately, it still increases and increases and increases. Then at the end, you end up with zero equity. No broker would want the investor to have zero equity. It's going to bring issues to the broker. That is where the maintenance requirement or the maintenance margin comes in. That hey, investor, yes, you are entering into this risky special transaction, but then you have to be sure or make sure that your equity doesn't go below a certain limit because I don't want any issue. If it's getting to that point, I'm going to give you a call as the margin call to come and top up. And then when you top up, your asset is going to increase. Okay. And if your asset increases, and then you are subtracting your liability, it's going to increase your equity. So let's say I have 2 minus 1, I'll get 1. Now if I get 3 minus 1, I'll get 2. We get it. So if you bring in more assets, it's going to improve your equity. But we don't want that to happen. So the broker will give a maintenance margin. So let's look at the last question, which says to what price, right, should the stock rise before the investor receives a margin call? So the 350, 15,000, right? The equity is still there. So the broker is saying, oh, let's see, maybe the expectation will go according to the investor. So let me wait. But then when the price increases to a certain limit, the broker must give you a call. That's come and top up. So we want to find out what price. But now it's 450. Okay, that was not at 450 we reduce the equity, but what price should I call the broker based on the requirements I'm giving, which is 20%? Okay. If so margin, let's say in equity, this situation, right? The margin or the maintenance margin, right? Or the margin, percentage margin is equal to equity divided by the value of the stocks. Equity divided by the value of the stocks, right? So when we say margin, just like a percentage, something over something. This one I didn't equity. Like the the price at which the broker should call you. Yet so the percent the margin will be between equity was the owner or the broker is calling because of your equity. You need to be like equity out of the what the value of the stock. They get it. That'll be your margin. So let's say we say profit margin is what net profit over sales. You get it? Because we get sales, get our profit usually from our sales. So our sales impact our profit. When we say gross profit margin, you get it from your sales. So, this one when you are dealing with equity and all that, maintenance margin, right? So your equity from your equity from the value of the stock, equity based on the value of the stock, right? Because it changes because of price of stock. Hope I'm making sense. Okay. So our margin requirement or maintenance margin, not margin requirement, sorry. Our maintenance margin is going to be equal to the equity, right? Divided by the value of the stocks at that point in time, okay, because the prices change, okay. So this becomes the equity margin. Sorry, the maintenance margin. So change of subject, right? You know our maintenance margin. Okay. So what is our maintenance margin? In the question said 20%. Okay. So say 0.2. Because what's our equity? How do we get equity? Equity is just assets minus liabilities. And as we said, asset is constant. Okay, so we can just pick the figure from the initial balance sheet. We get to initial balance sheet. So this one we are forgoing the second and third scenarios. We are looking at initial balance sheet and this question. So the initial balance sheet, we pick the asset because the asset is constant. But then a minus liabilities is what will give us our equity. But we know that liability is not constant. It changes because of the prices. And then liabilities is just the stock, the value or the number of shares and the price at the point at the settlement. They will know the price because they're looking for the price to get it and it changes. So they have the number of shares we took times our price. Okay. We will divide it by the value of the stocks. And the value of the stocks is what? The stocks we took that the number of stocks and the price or the prevailing price at that point in time. I hope this is clear. So we just have to do change of subject and all that. Okay, so this might seem some way, but let me see if I can do it here. So 0.2 times the 3000 P, right? Because the 3000 divided, so the cross multiplication give us our 1665,000 minus the 3000 P. So in both situations, should we just cancel out the 3000 P and then the 3000 P because it's dividing everything in the bracket. So let me put this one in the bracket, maybe a little bit better. Divide everything in the bracket. So you can't just cancel out. No, 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 no. You have to what? Separate them to get to use this one. And then 0.2 times 3000 will give us get 600 P equal to and now bring grouping like them like 600 P plus 3000 P. That will give us we have a 3600 P equal to what advance. So I divide both sides by the what 3600, right? So our P is equal to 3600. So now P is what? Going to be what's $162.50, right? So our price is going to be 462.50. So when the price rises to 462.50, then means the investor is hitting or has hit the broker's limit. So the broker for hey, no investor, please kind of top up, okay, to improve your equity position else you have to spend this deal. Get it? So that's basically it. So I hope this video helps you so much, okay? So kindly like it, share, comment, like write something just to motivate me that oh okay, I did this correct, I did this correct. The next time when I'm doing the buying or margin, you get it, I'll be able to know what to do better. Okay. So short sales is not difficult. It's simple. It's very simple. Very simple. Very simple. Just have to know that dealing with different scenarios, always refer back to your initial balance sheet. So in no circumstance should you refer to your second, let's say in a third scenario where price has risen. Don't compare with what the second scenario where prices has fallen. Compare with the initial stage, right? So the scenarios can change. So the initial stage is the base case. You get it, and you're comparing that. Then because it's a short sales, right? You make a loss, you use the selling price minus what your cost price to get the profit or loss value. Then you multiply it with the number of shares to get whether you make a profit or you made a loss. Okay. So that's basically for short sales. Thank you so much for watching and I hope that this video has helped you. If you have any question, you can leave it in the comment section and we'll take it from there. Have a nice day. See you. Bye bye.